Ashe Echo. It's Mystic with the message, spreading love, light, and positive energy to all beings on the frequency. How are you guys today? I am absolutely wonderful. Today is a beautiful, wonderful, magical, amazing day. Yes, it is. And we are back. I know I've been off for a while, but you guys understand, I was pregnant. I ended up getting into my last month, and I was not trying to, just, I was more focused on what was present than, recording that and filming that. And so I had to quit making my update videos for you guys. But update, the baby's here. My baby is officially 3 weeks now. And as you guys know, I had a boy, my beautiful baby boy, and his name is Zakari Nazir Johnson. He was named by his father, and I absolutely adore it. I absolutely adore his name. I absolutely adore him. It's the most beautiful, wonderful, magical, amazing thing to ever happen to me. Next to finding my husband, we combined our love and we did something beautiful, wonderful, magical, and amazing. And I'm so thankful every day to have him. Zakari was born April 27th, 2019 at 6:19 p.m. He was 7 pounds and 4 ounces. It was an all-natural birth. We ended up going to the hospital, which was perfectly fine because we kind of knew that was going to happen. By the way that our lives are set up at this time. We are actually currently in South Bend, Indiana, my hometown where I was born. So my baby was born in my hometown. I ended up in the like last month of my pregnancy, I was like, yo, I gotta go back to Indiana. Like, the way my energy was set up, I was just being pushed to go back to Indiana. And so I made it here, and we were doing a lot of traveling and just a lot of jumping around. So that's another reason why I didn't want to record, because I really didn't have time. My energy just wasn't set up for it. So, but we are here. Zakari was born in a hospital with all natural, no medications. They I'll probably I might do a video of my full birth story, but just to give you guys a gist of things, there was no I don't know. I guess I can do kind of a birth story, but because I don't know if I'm gonna give y'all one in full detail. But anywho, I went to labor. He was born on a Saturday. Friday at 3 a.m., I woke up with contractions. And I thought he was going to be born on Friday. And so I texted my dad and I texted my granny and I let them know that I thought that I was in labor at that moment because I was having contractions. But by around 6 o'clock, 6 a.m., the contractions stopped. So when I told everyone that the contractions stopped, my dad told me to go to the hospital, which I refused to do so because I did not want to go to the hospital until it was time to have this baby. um, my grandmother, I just told her I would let her know if I start having contractions again. My aunt told me that I probably was having Braxton Hicks, but no, I knew that they were not Braxton Hicks because I knew what Braxton Hicks felt like, and that was something totally different that was labor. Like, I don't know. So I went through my whole day, Friday, and as it got closer to nighttime, I was like kind of nervous because I was like, I didn't want to eat nothing heavy because I knew that I was about to go into labor. Um, but I still managed to make it to a Mexican restaurant and get a huge ass burrito and ate that burrito. And I knew that I shouldn't have ate that burrito because I woke up again Saturday at 3 a.m. with contractions. And I labored with my husband. He monitored my contractions and they started to get to the point to where they were about 4 minutes apart. And that is when my mucus plug came out. And after my mucus plug came out, we waited another hour or so. Well, I mean, because we made it to the hospital around like 10, around like, 9:40 something. So we waited a while. Um, my mucus plug probably came out around 7 or 8. And around my mucus plug had came out around actually, yeah, like 6 going on to 7. And so me and my husband, we was like, we just gonna sit and let me continue to labor for a while until they get closer. And they got about 3 minutes apart. And that's when my husband had asked me if I wanted to get in the tub. I got into the tub for like a few minutes. And I'm sorry, I have a bottle of coconut oil right here, and it is completely taken over by ants. So I just want to go throw that away because it's irritating the shit out of me. But here we go, baby. Good job, baby. So we are currently at my aunt's house. We're staying with my aunt. And my husband, he looked at me and was like, I think it's time for us to go to the hospital. I said, okay, well, let's go. Are you waking up? Or are you trying to go back to sleep? And I was like, okay, so he went to go get my aunt and let her know that I was in labor and that it was time to go to the hospital. And she got ready and we got ready, and when I came out to the living room, I sat on the couch. She said, are you sure that you think you're in labor? Or are you sure that they're not Braxton Hicks contractions? I was like, no, these are real contractions. And she was like, okay. So she drove us to the hospital, and I called my mom as we were on our way so she could meet us up there. And we got there, and I didn't even realize that I had to fill out paperwork and all that shit. And I had to fill out my paperwork and stuff, and then that's when they took us upstairs, and they took us to a room to examine me to make sure that I was actually in labor. And then they did the little check to see about bacteria, which I gave them permission to, which I shouldn't have because they had to stick a Q-tip on my butt, and I didn't not like that. And my husband was actually telling me, like, You're not gonna want that. And I told them okay anyway, just because I was ready to just move forward with the fucking process. I wasn't trying to think about nothing. And I should have just listened to my husband. So after that, I made sure that I was just like looking at him like, okay, can you facilitate this shit? Because you know I'm not thinking. And so after they did that and they put the little monitor on my stomach and they seen that, my contractions were coming, they were steady 3 minutes, three minutes apart, 3 or 4 minutes apart. I had dilated, I think 6 centimeters. I think I was like 6 centimeters dilated when I got in there. And so they were like, yeah, you're in labor. We're going to keep you since you're only 6 centimeters dilated. So we're like, yeah, okay. It's like 9. It's like 10 o'clock. Like I told you guys, it's like 10 o'clock. And I'm sorry. It's a mess. It's a mess around here. And I can't take it. Anywho, they got me into the room, into the labor and delivery room, and got all my clothes off and got me hooked up to the monitors and things. And oh, I did not tell you guys the whole point of me telling you about the burrito, because I threw up the burrito around like 4 o'clock in the morning. When I woke up with contractions, I threw up at least twice before I left the house. And then when I got to the hospital, I threw up at least 3 more times while I was in labor. So that was just not even a good idea at all. And my body was just like, I don't even know why you chose to eat anything heavy. That was stupid. I should have just chose to eat some fruit and call it a day. And I chose to eat a whole burrito. And I literally threw that shit up. Okay? Okay. So, heads up, if you think you're gonna go to labor, just eat a salad or something. Don't even eat nothing heavy. Eat something that's just gonna process within 30 minutes, because it was not fun. But okay, so my contractions, they were not super terrible. My labor was not terrible. Like, everybody try to scare you and tell you like, oh, labor is just the most horrible thing in the world, and it's not, birth is just not it. And it's like the lies people tell to try to get you to stress and be in the state of fear. Like, none of that was terrible. I actually was basically asleep during my whole labor process. Like, literally, I was asleep. I was only like, waking up out of my sleep during my contractions. I didn't scream. I actually didn't start making noise until like, I don't know if it was like, I think my mom had said like, it's okay to make noises, like that's gonna help. So, and that's when I started making noises. But like, I wasn't like, moaning real loud or yelling or nothing during I was just breathing through it. And I had my husband there to hold my hand every time I went to a contraction. And I did a lot of laying down because I was just so freaking tired and I just wanted to go to sleep. Like, I just wanted to go to sleep. I was so ready to push him out because I was just so ready to just go to sleep. I was just so freaking tired. And I was just like tired of waking up to just so I could have contractions. Like, I was just like, can I just sleep through this? I'm already asleep. Like, just let me just sleep. But I couldn't sleep. I was in labor. Basically asleep the whole time. Contractions were easy to handle. But at the same time, I did a lot of preparation for this child. And I did a lot of getting my body right before I got pregnant and during my pregnancy. I did a lot of preparation for my labor, so that's why it came so easily for me, because I take good care of my body, and that was a very big factor in that. So when it came to me being in labor, it was easy for me to handle. The nurse, I know the nurse, she kept coming in like asking me, basically like implying like if you need medication or anything, I will come in and bring it to you. But she didn't want to directly say it out because she was kind of intimidated by my husband, or she felt I was intimidated by my husband, or I don't know. But I guess they kind of felt like since I was allowing him to speak for me a lot, that he was basically controlling me, or like I didn't really or they thought that maybe I felt I didn't have a say so in how to be cared for. But he was speaking for me because, first of all, he is me, and second of all, he knew what I wanted, and he knew that I didn't have the capacity to communicate that, you know, while I was laboring, because I was too busy focusing on birthing a child. But yeah, so I just, just kept letting her know, like, nah, I'm okay. I don't need anything. Just keep bringing me my water and keep bringing me ice, which I really wasn't drinking a lot of water either, or eating a lot of ice, because I felt like when I was drinking water, it made my contractions more intense. So, and you guys see how my camera is rocking with me? That is so wicked. I've never seen a camera do that before. It's moving with me. But anywho, yeah. So I felt like they were making my contractions more intense. So I allowed myself to get a little bit dehydrated during the process, which led to them having to give me an IV drip, which I allowed that. And that was mainly the only thing that I allowed during my time of being there, was allowing them to give me IV. Um, and I allowed them to take some of my blood, which my husband and I really weren't feeling the whole blood thing. But like I said, in the moment, I was more focused on trying to give birth. So I was just like, whatever, do whatever you need to do so that I can, you know, continue to stay focused on what's the matter at hand. So the doctor, also, um, the doctor had came in and checked me, and not, um, I wasn't dilating. Um, I wasn't dilating anymore. I was still at a 6 after being there for a few hours. But my contractions had started to become 1 minute apart. Yeah, my contractions were like 1 minute apart, but I still haven't dilated any. So they had came in and asked if I wanted to have my water broken, and me and my husband, we had took some time to think about it, and then we called them back in there and asked them to break it. So they came in, they broke my water, and I allowed that as well. I allowed them to break my water. Soon after my water broke, which I was so super nervous, and I didn't want to tell my husband that I was nervous or that I was scared, even though, like, in that moment, I should have been, or I could have been vulnerable, and let him know that I was nervous or that I was scared in that moment, so that um, I could have allowed him to comfort me in that space that I needed to be comforted in. But I didn't let him know that, because I was just trying to be a strong woman, and I didn't want to perpetuate any negative situations, so I didn't want to speak it into existence. But I was nervous. Hey, baby. Because I didn't know how much more intense my contractions were going to get, or how much more pain I was going to be in, and if I could manage it. So I was a little afraid, but I allowed them to do it. And when they came in to do it, I just looked at my husband like, so scared. So scared. But I pushed through it, and my contractions didn't get too much worse. I could say my contractions were at about a 6 or 7. And then after they burst my water, it was like a 7 or 8. And so I just rocked with it. Like, it wasn't bad. And I was just breathing through everything. And I forgot how long it took, but I dilated. And it got to the point to where I could feel my body, like, well, first of all, my husband left to go get some food before the cafeteria closed. So he was going to get some food. And after my water got broken. And I can feel that my body had started to get to the point to where it was trying to push. And I was just looking like, where is he now? But it's not like, like, oh my God, he left me in this moment. Or no, it's just like, I be thinking I could take on so much stuff on my own, and I be really like needing my husband. I be like really needing my husband for real. And I was just like, he need to get here because I don't know what to do about this. This is a new feeling. This is different right here. I need him to come up here and explain this shit to me. Even though he's not a woman, so he's never birthed a child, so he can't really give me too much explanation. But I need him to get up here and explain this shit to me, because this is a different feeling. Not like painful, but like I really feel like I gotta poop, and I don't like. I just need you right here because I don't understand. My body's not computing this. I need you right here to explain this shit because I don't understand. But he wasn't going long. He was only going like 5 minutes. He came, but in that 5 minutes, I had at least 5 contractions. So, he had came right back up, and then when he came, that's when I had let him know what was going on, and then we called the nurse in the room. It was only me, him, and my mother in the room for the majority of the time. My brother had came to visit. My eldest brother, Zamir, had came to visit while I was in labor, and my cousin, Yakini, had came to visit while I was in labor. But, like, I really didn't want a lot of people there, and I think everybody kind of knew that, and they was just giving me my respect. So nobody really showed up to the hospital while I was there, because they know me and they know my energy, and they know I really didn't want like a lot going on. I just wanted that moment to be just, my immediate family, like me, my husband, and my baby, and of course my mom. But yeah, okay, so we called the nurse back in the room, and then she had checked me, and she was like, "You're there." Like, you're ready. And I'm like, yes, thank you. And as soon as I said that, I had a contraction and I started pushing. And she was like, no, don't push, no, don't push. It's not time to push. And I'm like, oh my God, you just told me I was complete. You just told me I was there. I was ready. Why can't I push? So we don't push it. And like, out of my whole experience of being in labor, that was like the hardest part. Not pushing. When my body was telling me to push, me not pushing. And you know what, people? I feel like that's a dangerous thing. If your body is like automatically on its own pushing and you are actively trying to keep yourself from pushing, I feel like that's a very dangerous thing and you can harm yourself and your baby. So fuck whatever your doctor is telling you and like literally like at least put a little force behind it, because I don't believe that that's a thing. Like, the only reason why she was telling me not to push and it wasn't time yet is because the doctors wasn't actively in there fully ready with gloves and aprons and things on. Like, but like, okay, so I had to hold him in, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out all kind of creative ways to keep this baby from coming in between my damn legs, from keeping myself from pushing. So I'm sitting there twisting my legs and stuff like that. And she's like, no, don't close your legs. And I'm like, well, that's the only way I could keep myself from pushing. So, shit, y'all gonna have to hurry. And then they got in there and they took their slow, precious time to get everything on. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm just ready to push. So, finally, it got to the point to where I could push. And I think I did it in like 3 pushes. Like, my mom said the first push, and my husband told me too, like, my first push, the baby was almost all the way out. Like, they said you did a really good job. The only thing is I didn't take a deep enough breath. That was my problem with pushing, is that my breath. I wasn't taking deep enough breaths to be able to last, like, really getting him out. Well, actually, the first and the second time I pushed, I was blowing the air out as I was pushing. And the doctor had told me, like, don't do that. Like, hold your breath in. Like, you have to hold your breath. And I was like, okay, I get it. And that's when, like, the third time I pushed, I got it. And he came out. And it was with ease. And it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt to me. Like, none of this shit hurt. Like, for real. Like, actual pain. Like, I think I would imagine like breaking a bone would probably hurt more than my labor did. And I know it's a lot of mothers out there that would probably be like, nah, this bitch lying. But no, for real, I think that breaking a bone would hurt worse compared to my labor. But yeah, he came out on the third push. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. Um, my baby was nice and healthy. Absolutely nothing wrong with him. Um, Everything checked out. All his tests and everything, he fully passed. He latched on very quickly, very easy. The lactation lady who came in, she said he was one of the best babies she's had seen that day. Um, he did a really good job. He did a really good job. He has been doing a very good job. My baby, he has a lot of strength and a lot of control over his own head. He's not very, he ain't very flimsy. Like, he has a lot of control over his head. He is already rolling over. He was rolling over like at a week and a half. He was rolling over at a week and a half. He sleeps through the night. He wakes up at like, we go to bed at like 10 maybe, and he wakes up around 6, 4, 4 or 6 a.m. So he sleeps through the night. Um, it took a week for his umbilical cord to come off. He still has not had his first bath. But we were waiting for all his skin to peel off. So I think first bath will be tonight. We did not allow them to bathe him at the hospital. We wanted to take our placenta. We were not, it was not in our plans to cut the cord, but they told us that it had to be cut, but they will leave it on, allow us to keep it attached until the cord stops pulsating, which they did not honor that agreement. But that's okay. They let Dad cut the cord. Yeah, we were supposed to keep the placenta. They put it in a fridge for us, and I just totally forgot about it. Which I was a little disappointed, but you know, I figured it was just meant to be. And I feel like in our next experience will be a lot more harmonious to our lifestyle. And we will be able to go through our process the way that we choose to. And not having to deal with the things that we dealt with this time, which is fine. Baby has an extra finger on his left hand. He gets that from Dad. Dad had 2 extra fingers. We did not get them cut. He did not get circumcised. Everything he was born with, he still has, other than his umbilical cord and placenta. But everything that he was born with, he still has. We chose not to remove that from him because he was born with it. So why remove it? And it's a lot of people don't agree with that because it's not aesthetically pleasing. Like, that's the thing. Getting a boy circumcised or cutting off his extra finger would just be for looks. It wouldn't be for anything other than looks. It wouldn't make him any healthier or make him succeed any more than anything. Like, it would just be for looks, just so he can be cuter to other people. But he's the most adorable, handsome thing I ever seen in my entire life. So no, we did not get anything cut off of him. But his extra finger, it appears to be something that might fall off at some point. And if it does, we are okay with that, but we're not okay with having it get cut off or, having it removed. Yeah. So, we left that on there. What else? Was only in the hospital for 3 days. I stopped bleeding at the beginning of my 3rd week. I did not have any heavy bleeding. I had almost no blood clotting after. Our iron was a little bit low, but that's because at a certain point in my pregnancy, I had to stop eating beans because my body wasn't agreeing with them. So that cut out a big source of my iron. But I was only like 3 points or whatever, something like that, below in iron. It wasn't that bad. They prescribed us some iron. I've been taking it sporadically, not as said on the bottle. It said take one a day, but I take one every 2 or 3 days, maybe. Because one, I have the understanding that it, first of all, it's not a natural source of iron. Second of all, I have the understanding that it's going to make us constipated to a certain capacity. If I'm not drinking enough water or getting enough fiber. So, I'm not trying to have my baby constipated. And yeah, it's not a natural source of iron. So I'm really not too big on, and three, I'm really not too big on taking pills and stuff. So it's just not really a consistent thing. But we are doing fine. Yeah, we were completely healthy. Which actually, like the last 3 weeks of my pregnancy, I had a cough that I just could not shake. I had a cough that was just not trying to go away. I was getting rid of a lot of mucus. A lot of mucus was like just coming up out of me during my last 3 weeks of my pregnancy. And I was just like a little concerned, like maybe it'll still be a thing by the time I have him, which it wasn't at all. It wasn't a thing by the time I had him. Come on, let me switch you sides. Let me switch you sides. Look, Zakari Nazir. Oh, him is a handsome boy. Come on, baby, let me feed you. Other side. Yeah, but by like that last week, it was gone, and I was so happy. I was so thankful. Because I was concerned. I didn't want my baby to come out and be sick, whatever, but he was completely healthy. We were completely healthy and in a good space. He is completely breastfed, no pacifiers, no bottles. I have a pump, but I've chosen to not do bottles yet because I'm personally not ready for it. I've pumped some milk. I have some it's stored away in the freezer, but I usually only pump when I get overflowed. But I'm not ready for him to be on anything other than the nipple. Ain't in my baby. Come on, open your mouth. Oh, there you go. There we go. Yeah. Oh, really? All that patting I just did to you. Maybe I wasn't patting you hard enough. I ain't trying to beat you. Anywho, yeah, he is completely breastfed. Will not be drinking or intaking any lactose or anything. When I first came back from the hospital, I couldn't cook anything or nothing like that, so I ordered a couple pizzas, and were eating pizzas, and I noticed that led to him being gassy. So, no more dairy, no more cheese, none of that. I don't want my baby to be gassy. I don't want my baby to be constipated. I don't want me or my baby's hormones to be thrown off. So yeah, no more cheese, no more dairy. We're doing our best to cut that off, but you guys know how hard it is. How you guys know how my relationship with cheese has been, but this pregnancy and now having him and just noticing how it has affected me during my pregnancy and how it's now actively affecting my baby after being born, I'm like just really realizing how cheese is really just it's not it at all. Like it's probably one of the worst things you could ever put into your body. Like seriously, dairy is probably one of the worst things you could ever put into your body, is what I'm starting to realize. So I'm doing my best to actively make sure that I'm staying away from those dairy products. Because I want my baby to be happy and healthy. Right, baby? Yeah. And for mommy to be happy and healthy. Because we are connected, right? Right? We connected for the booby. Come on. So that is my birth story, you guys. If there's anything that I've missed out or left out, I'll probably put that in my next video. But that's our update. You guys see my locks? They're like growing so wicked. So wicked. My locks are like literally growing. My husband's locks are like out of this world. Hi, baby. He's not ready to fully wake up right now. So I'm going to put my baby all the way back to sleep. And I will probably sleep with him. My hardest thing in my last month of pregnancy, my hardest thing during my entire pregnancy, well, no, my last month of pregnancy and right now after having birth and trying to heal is sitting down. That's the hardest thing for me, is sitting down. I am just so ready to get up and just do everything in the world, and I can't. And I have to constantly remind myself that I can't. And my husband has to constantly, like, tell me to go and sit down or go lay down or go to sleep. Like, literally. One day my husband was trying to put me to bed and I was still trying to actively do 100 different things. And he looked at me and was like, seriously, lay your butt down. Like, that's the hardest thing for me right now. And I'm continuously trying to play the superwoman role. So, that's probably the hardest thing that I'm dealing with. But other than that, everything's been pretty much smooth sailing. It's okay. Here we go. Let me guys show you my 3 weeks postpartum body real quick. And that will be it for the video. This is my 3 weeks. I got boobs. My 3 weeks. This is what my tummy looks like. Y'all see that? Yeah. This is my 3 weeks, you guys. This is what happens when you prep, right? I have just a few stretch marks because in the last 2 weeks, I just gave up and I started scratching because I couldn't handle it no more. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I have a new subscriber. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching this full video. And I hope you guys are having the most beautiful day. We are putting out positive energy and receiving positive energy back. Yeah, baby. Are we? Yes. We are. Zakari Nazir. Hi. Oh my gosh. The growth and the change has been heartbreaking. It's so much, and I can't take it. My baby don't even look like he did when he came out of me. I can't. Thank you guys for watching this long ass video. We love you. Mwah.